Week 1 of the 2025 NFL season is finally here. I don't know about you guys, but I am super excited to not only be back with my predictions video, but super excited that the NFL season is finally here. If you're new to the channel, I provide NFL predictions on a week-to-week basis, and the house rules are I will provide at least one upset minimum per week. So without further ado, let's hop into my Week 1 NFL predictions. Starting off, Thursday Night Football, Dallas Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. This game is at Philadelphia. They will be raising that Super Bowl banner. That will probably motivate the Dallas Cowboys, but I don't even think there's any motivation in the world to probably give the Cowboys any chance for an upset against the Philadelphia Eagles. They traded Micah Parsons last week to the Green Bay Packers. Don't think the Cowboys did enough to really boost up that run defense. I understand they acquired Kenny Clark. Still don't think that is enough to really revamp this run defense. Diggs probably isn't 100%, so I really don't have much faith in this Cowboys defense. As long as Dak's healthy, this offense will probably stay in the game. Dak is definitely going to feed the ball to Lamb, feed the ball to Pickens. So I do see this offense playing keep up a lot. But against the Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles, why not just give the ball to Saquon Barkley probably 20 or 30 times a game? And I don't think that this Cowboys secondary could probably stop A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I got the Philadelphia Eagles defeating the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football, and I'm also throwing in my score predictions, and my score prediction is Philadelphia Eagles 27, Dallas Cowboys 17. Friday Night Football, we have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the LA Chargers at Brazil. Very challenging to be playing in those field conditions in Brazil. We saw what happened with the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Green Bay Packers last year in Week 1. Players were slipping and sliding. This can be a low affair because people will probably be slipping and sliding, or maybe be a high-scoring affair like it was last year. But overall, the Kansas City Chiefs just pretty much run the AFC West. I do think that the Chargers could probably give the Chiefs a fight, but playing against the Chiefs, especially on Friday night, kind of gives me spooky spells of this game. I kind of got the Chiefs winning this game over the LA Chargers. I have the Chiefs 24, Chargers 20. Sunday, 1 p.m. slates, we have the New York Giants versus the Washington Commanders. Out is Daniel Jones. We have Russell Wilson at quarterback. And I got to say, having a quarterback pretty much as competent as Russell Wilson is a lot better than having Daniel Jones quarterbacking for this team. So I do expect Malik Neighbors to have himself quite a season, and probably see this offense move the ball down a bit. Russell Wilson isn't Seattle Seahawks Wilson, but it is serviceable and a lot more competent than Daniel Jones. And the New York Giants probably have one of the scariest defensive lines in NFL. They have to deal with Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Kevon Thibodeau, and even Abdul Carter. This is going to be a very scary defense. And the Washington Commanders, they did make it to the NFC Championship game. They did acquire Deebo Samuel. So I do see the Commanders being competitive. Something between these two teams, it kind of feels very 50-50. And I kind of feel like some of these games kind of come into the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. I'm going with the first upset of Week 1. I got the New York Giants over the Washington Commanders. Divisional games, 50-50 happens, but I do expect the Giants defense to kind of give Jaden Daniels some stress, and with some competent quarterback play, I do see the Giants sticking around and getting a nice upset in Week 1 over the Washington Commanders. Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns. The Cincinnati Bengals do not have a great defense. We're probably going to see MVP Joe Burrow again this season. That's pretty much the lone bright spot of this team is the offense. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Chase Brown. This is another team that's going to be playing keep up a lot this season. Then we have the Cleveland Browns. This team is straight poverty. They will be starting Joe Flacco. The bright side of the Cleveland Browns is they do have a very stout defense as long as Myles Garrett is healthy. They did draft Mason Graham. I do expect the defensive trenches to be very gritty against this Bengals offensive line. I don't know. I feel like this is a coin toss game. I just do not trust the Cincinnati Bengals within the first 7 weeks of the NFL season. And the Bengals pretty much have a really bad record when it comes to, I believe, the season openers. I do like an upset here, but I find it very hard to justify it. I'm going to go Bengals. A Browns upset won't surprise me. It won't surprise me. I feel like the Browns play very, very hard against teams in their division. But I'm going to go with the Bengals here. I'm going to go 28-17. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the New York Jets. We have Aaron Rodgers facing his old team, Justin Fields facing his old team. I do see this game being somewhat of a low-scoring affair. The Steelers have a very great defense. The New York Jets have a very stout defense. The Jets do have Aaron Glenn as his first year as a head coach, going against the veteran Mike Tomlin. I am probably going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers over the New York Jets. This is another tough game. I think this game could go back and forth. I do see Justin Fields' dual threat ability keeping the Jets in the game, but I also see the Steelers' defense just being very, very stingy and causing havoc against this Jets offense. So I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to go 21-17. Next, we have the Arizona Cardinals versus the New Orleans Saints. The Cardinals play very scrappy to start the season, and the Cardinals have a very light schedule. I can see the Cardinals being competitive in this upcoming season. I can see the Cardinals winning about 9 wins. So I do see the Cardinals having a very scrappy and competitive season. The New Orleans Saints, not buying into this team. I do see the Saints probably having a top 3 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals here. I am going 31-17, and especially with Spencer Rattler starting, no faith in the Saints team. 31-17. Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Falcons. This Buccaneers offense is quite loaded, right? They don't have Chris Godwin being 100% yet, and I know McMillan's suffering with that neck injury. Now we have Mike Evans. I do see Emeka Egbuka having a fantastic rookie season. Bucky Irving has been named RB1. This is going to be a very firework type offense for this Buccaneers team. The pass defense is serviceable, not the best, not the worst, but it's all right. They're going against Michael Penix, who will be starting this upcoming season. He will be dishing the pill to Drake London, probably Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson. Divisional games are so tough, and I did know that last year, I believe the Buccaneers did have a hard time stopping Kyle Pitts. But overall, I'm going to have to give it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 1. It's a tough game. This game could really go either way, but I'm going to give the edge to the Buccaneers. They pretty much run the South a little bit, and they're going to be on their quest for their 5th straight divisional winner. But not a buyer into the Falcons just yet. Just need to see Penix just a little bit more. But I'm going to give the edge to the Buccaneers in this one. And I have a high-scoring affair in this game. I am going 28-35. Next, we have the Miami Dolphins versus the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts have named Daniel Jones as his starting quarterback. I understand new scenery can change players. We did see what happened with Sam Darnold. He went through different teams. He found the right fit with the Vikings last year. He played well, nice with the Seahawks. So maybe a change of scenery will be good for Daniel Jones, but I'm just still not a buyer into him as a quarterback and just trying to lead a team, and especially analyzing defenses. I just don't really trust him as a quarterback, and they're going against the Miami Dolphins where, yes, they do have good pass rush. The secondary is a bit leaky, but as long as Tua is healthy, Hill is there, healthy Waddle, and at least Achane playing the game, I really don't see the Colts stopping this Miami Dolphins team. I'm going with Miami Dolphins win over the Indianapolis Colts. I have the Miami Dolphins 30, Indianapolis Colts 20. Next, we have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the New England Patriots. On the Raiders side, they have Pete Carroll coming in as a head coach. They did bring in Geno Smith to be quarterback for the Raiders, and Geno Smith does have some nice weapons on offense. Ashton Genty as a running back, Myers at wide receiver, Thornton at wide receiver, Brock Bowers. This is going to be an offense that's going to be very sneaky. It could probably go blow to blow with certain teams in the NFL. And then you have the New England Patriots. They do have Mike Vrabel as head coach. Do we see a year 2 breakout in Drake May? They did draft Will Campbell to at least beef up the offensive line. They did bring in Stephon Diggs. They did spend some capital and some cash money in the offseason to bring in some veterans and at least surround Drake May with some talent. This is probably going to be a very close game, maybe a low-scoring game, but I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders here. The reason being is I don't think Diggs will be 100%. I don't even know if Christian Gonzalez will be 100%. And if Christian Gonzalez is not 100% or doesn't play, I don't know if I see this Patriots defense stopping the type of weapons that this Raiders offense has. I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders here with a Week 1 win over the New England Patriots, and I'm going to go 21-17. Carolina Panthers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. When we're talking about the Carolina Panthers, and I might be in the minority here, I think the Carolina Panthers could probably be one of the most sneaky NFL teams this season. Not too sure if you guys follow baseball, but the Panthers are kind of like the Miami Marlins to me this upcoming season, right? They may not have the best roster. They may not have the best quarterback, but this feels like a team that's going to be very scrappy. I do think they're going to improve at least maybe an extra 2 to 4 wins this upcoming season and sneak away with some very nice wins. They did almost beat the Chiefs last year. They almost beat the Eagles last year. So I do think this Panthers team can be competitive. The defense was very terrible last year, but they did have a solid draft class this year and kind of gotten some key players on the Jacksonville Jaguars side. Travis Hunter, we're going to see a majority of him on offense and maybe some snaps on defense. I'm really curious to see the type of usage that Liam Cohen will have with Travis Hunter on this team, but I'm going to go with an upset here. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to go 27-24 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Upset Panthers over the Jaguars. 27-24. Tennessee Titans versus the Denver Broncos. The Titans did draft Cam Ward. Cam Ward is probably going against one of the most elite defenses in the NFL, and that is the Denver Broncos, and that is a very, very tough challenge for a rookie quarterback. The Broncos pretty much had the edge in all phases of this game. Not much to explain here. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos over the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to go 34-21. San Francisco 49ers versus the Seattle Seahawks. The 49ers do have a subpar wide receiver group, but the 49ers also have one of the most easiest schedules in the NFL. So despite of how you feel about the 49ers and their injury-riddled team, I'm probably in the minority here. I think they will be a very competitive team, especially with their light schedule. I can see the 49ers win 10-plus games this year. So I do see the 49ers being competitive. And then the same thing with the Seahawks, a very light schedule. They did bring in Sam Darnold as quarterback. He is reuniting with Clint Kubiak. They did revamp the offensive line. So I do see this game going back and forth. And I kind of feel like these two sometimes split. I could be wrong, but I feel like there's always a tough fight between these two teams. But I'm going to have to give the edge to the San Francisco 49ers over the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm going to do 28-21 49ers over the Seattle Seahawks. Detroit Lions over the Green Bay Packers. The Detroit Lions did suffer some key injuries during the offseason, but they also had some changes to their interior offensive line. Left guard, center, right guard changes, new offensive coordinator, offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball. Very brutal schedule. In my personal opinion, I do not see the Detroit Lions winning 15 games like last year. So I do not see the Lions having the same success as they did last year, but I do think they still put up a fight. Then the Green Bay Packers made a very huge splash last week, trading for Michael Parsons to at least bolster up that pass rush, and it is going to be a very scary duo with Parsons on one side, Rashawn Gary, or even with Hafley getting creative and having Cooper and Parsons attack after the quarterback. But this is going to be a very tough game. I believe the Packers are 0-3 in the last 3 home games against the Detroit Lions, and I believe they're 1-4 or 2-4 within the last 6. But overall, the past few times, the Packers have pretty much been manhandled by the Detroit Lions. But it is a new year, it is a new season, and the Packers pretty much have somewhat a brand new pass rush to this team. It is going to be very hard to determine this game, because I just don't know. I feel like with Micah Parsons going to the Green Bay Packers, this game has come down to a 50-50 to me. I'm going to go Green Bay Packers over the Detroit Lions, and I'm going to go 27 to 26. 27 to 26. Houston Texans over the LA Rams. The Houston Texans revamped their offensive line, really beefed up their wide receiver room. CJ Stroud had to deal with a very bad offensive line, had an injury-riddled wide receiver core, and the offensive coordinator last year, the play calling was very predictable. A lot went wrong, and I think that played a huge I think that was a huge factor into the regression of CJ Stroud. But like I said, revamped offensive line. They did beef up their wide receiver core. New offensive coordinator. I do think that CJ Stroud does step up this season, has a nice year 3 breakout. And then with the LA Rams, they have one of the top front sevens. I do think that Jared Verse will be a defensive player of the year candidate this season. He had a fantastic season last year, and I do think that he will make noise this season. They did bring in Devontae Adams. The key thing about this Rams team this season is going to be the health of Matt Stafford. He is getting older, so he's not as the young Stafford as he was last year. But I do think this will probably be a close game. But I'm going to go Houston Texans in this game over the LA Rams, and I'm going to go 24 to 20. The Houston Texans have a very elite pass defense and actually have more trust in CJ Stroud passing on this Rams secondary than I have faith in Stafford throwing in this very stingy and elite pass defense that the Texans have. I'm going to give the edge to the Houston Texans this one, 24 to 20. Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills. I won't be surprised if we see these two teams in the AFC Championship game if the Chiefs don't make it, but we pretty much do know that Chiefs probably make it to that point. But these are two teams that I really do see coming down to the AFC Championship and making it to the Super Bowl. Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson may have another MVP-like career this season, and I feel like ever since they brought in the new offensive coordinator for this Ravens team, Lamar Jackson has just been so dominant, and in the second half of the season last year, the Ravens defense was very dominant, and this is a very dominant team, and if this team is clicking on all cylinders, they are very, very tough to beat. And then you have the Buffalo Bills, an MVP winner, Josh Allen. Pretty much when Josh Allen puts a team on his back, this Bills team does have a fighting chance in every single game. But the Bills are one of the most dominant teams in their division and one of the most dominant teams in the AFC. I'm going to have to give the W to the Buffalo Bills at home. I'll give them the edge at home over the Baltimore Ravens, and I have 27 to 26. Minnesota Vikings versus the Chicago Bears. This is the debut of J.J. McCarthy. And then we do have Caleb Williams on the other end in his year 2 season. I have a very hard time trying to choose a winner in this game. Divisional game, Monday night. There's unknowns with J.J. McCarthy, not a full buyer, and Caleb Williams. So I kind of feel like this may come down to coaching, right? And if that is the case, I'm going to give the edge to the Minnesota Vikings. Kevin O'Connell is such a great head coach. Then they have defensive coordinator Brian Flores, who loves to get creative on the defensive side of the ball. So between Kevin O'Connell's creativity on offense, Brian Flores' defensive creativity and blitz-heavy scheme, I do see that Kevin O'Connell will probably put J.J. McCarthy probably in the best position to at least help the Vikings win this game. Tough division game on a Monday night. And I can see the Bears winning at home too, but I'm going to give the edge to the Vikings just based off just coaching advantage in this one. And I'm going to give a final score of 21 to 18. That is it for my Week 1 NFL predictions. Comment below on your thoughts and your predictions for Week 1. But overall, happy to be back for the NFL season. And I also have an X account, so you can also follow me there at Revis_talks. But overall, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy your Week 1 of NFL. Catch you guys next time.